Hello, and welcome to Denver Parks and Recreation at Home. My name is Joe. Today, we are going to be talking about Pickleball Basics. We're going to start out with the origins of the game, move on to some basic scoring and terminology, and then we're going to learn the important skills, as well as some drills to practice those skills. So let's start out with the origins of the game. Pickleball was born in the summer of 1965 near Seattle at the home of Joel Pritchard. Three dads coming home from a golf outing found their children bored when they got home. So they tried to set up badminton and apparently failed. Instead, they created a game with a net closer to the ground using a plastic ball. And so pickleball was born. So let's start off with the basics. Pickleball is a game played with paddles and a perforated polymer ball with 26 to 40 holes. So this is a diagram of an overhead shot of a pickleball court. This is the sidelines, and it goes 20 feet by 44 feet. The net is 34 inches high and goes down the middle. These are the center lines. And this area here marked in orange is the kitchen. The kitchen is 7 feet on either side of the net. The interesting thing about the kitchen is that you can't hit the ball unless it bounces in the kitchen. If you hit the ball before it bounces and you're in the kitchen, you lose the point. Once the ball bounces in the kitchen, you're able to move into the kitchen to hit the ball. If you hit the ball outside of the kitchen and your momentum carries you into the kitchen, then you lose the point again. You can reach over the line and hit the ball, but your feet have to remain behind the kitchen lines. Now, if you touch the line at all, then you are considered in the kitchen. The other interesting thing about the kitchen is that when you serve, if you hit any of these lines, the ball is in. If you hit the kitchen line, the ball is out. So keep that in mind because we'll be coming back to the kitchen later on. We'll now go over some basic scoring. Pickleball is a game played to 11 and you have to win by 2. You can only score when you are serving. So in doubles, both partners will get the opportunity to serve. And once you play through both the points, the serve moves to the opposing team. An important thing is to announce the score before you serve. And I'll give you an example. The serving team score is always announced first. So say the score is 5-3. I'm the serving team. The score is 5-3-1. So the serving team has 5. The opposing team has 3. And you're on the first serve. If you're on the second serve, it's 5-3-2.
Hi, my name is Amanda. Thanks for joining us for Pickleball Introduction. I'm going to go over some serving tips with you today. So the first thing with serving is your grip on the paddle. So you're going to want to grab the paddle as if you're shaking the paddle's hand. You want to have a comfortable grip. You want to grip it strong enough to where the paddle handle is not going to twist in your hand when you do go to serve the ball. I'm also going to go over where you stand at the baseline and where you want to hit in the other side of the court, and some target areas that are going to give you a good serving shot versus an excellent serving shot. When I serve, you also are going to want to pay attention to your paddle head. You want your paddle head facing upwards. So when you go to serve the ball, paddle head will be facing up and in the direction of where you're going to serve the ball. Also, one of the rules with serving is that you have to serve underhand, and you cannot let the paddle head cross your waistline. Another thing to note when you're serving is that you will be serving to the adjacent serving box from where you're currently standing. You only get one serve if your team is the first team serving to start the game off. The rest of the time, the other teams will get to, each one of the players on each team will get to serve every time. All right, we're gonna go ahead and work on a couple drills now. in terms of service. So in serving, you want to serve as close to the center line as possible in the adjacent serving box. So we're going to go ahead and work on that today. I have placed a couple hula hoops on the other side. If you have cones at home, t-shirts, anything that can be a target for you, or just look at that spot on the court when you go out to practice. So I'm going to be looking at these hula hoops that are placed really close to the center court line. So we'll go ahead and try that right now. Drill number 2, we're going to go over serve, receive, and approach the net. So you're going to start out with your serve behind the baseline, your feet behind the baseline, serve, you'll come up, waiting to receive the ball from the opponent, because the ball has to bounce on the first hit from the opponent in the first play of your serve game. So you're waiting for that ball to bounce, and then after it bounces, you return, and then you're going to approach the non-volley line, otherwise known as the kitchen line. And you're going to be at the kitchen line ready for play up here with your partner also side by side at the kitchen line. From there, you do the play as needed wherever the ball is returned to you.
Hi, my name is Gabby. I'm going to go over 5 tips to having a successful dink. The first tip I have for you is the grip. The type of grip that I like to use and that I recommend is called the continental grip. So if you placed your paddle out in front of you with the edge of the paddle facing towards you, you're going to reach out and shake the hand of that paddle. This grip is very versatile. It will allow for an easy transition for forehands and backhands. And when you're playing a dink game up at the net, you want a grip that will allow for a quick, easy transition where you don't have to switch the grip of your paddle. The second tip I have for you is the swing path of the ball. So you'll notice as I demonstrate, the swing path of my paddle will go from low to high when I play a dink at the net. You also want to make sure that you're always making contact in front of your body and never behind your body. Okay, tip number 3 I have for you is using your legs. A common mistake people use is standing up straight at the net. You want to be in a ready position with your knees bent and your back straight. This is a normal athletic position, and when you're at the net, you're able to move from side to side much easier than when you're standing up straight. You want to be in ready position, ready to move for the ball. Okay, tip number 4 is the net clearance. Oftentimes people think that you want to hit the ball as close to the net as possible. You actually don't want to do that because it creates more margin of error in hitting the ball into the net. You want to give yourself about 1 to 1.5 feet of margin of error when you're hitting the ball over the net on a dink. And that's number 5, or tip number 5, is actually the depth of your shot. It's key to hit a dink past the net, but in front of the non-volley zone or the kitchen line on the opponent's side. So it actually doesn't matter the height of your shot, rather the depth of your shot on your opponent's side. So now we're talking about the swing path. You want to make contact in front of your body, not behind, and your paddle's going to go from low to high. Also, one thing to remember is your swing is going to be short and compact. So your follow-throughs are going to be close to your body, short and compact, and you're also going to make contact with the ball in front of your body. legs and moving your feet. So when you are up at the net, ready for a dink, it's important to be in an athletic stance with your knees bent and your back straight. Okay, so here we're going to show you tip number 4 and 5 together, which is the net clearance and the depth of your shot. All the while incorporating steps 1, 2, and 3. Okay, next we're going to talk about the return on a long ball. And the return most likely is going to come after the serve. So the importance of this is going to be the deeper your return, the better placement you are able to gain on the court in an offensive position. So what we're going to do for you is I've got somebody on the other side of the court going to serve a ball to me. And I'm going to talk about 4 steps that make a successful return possible. Okay, tip number 1 I have for you on the return is going to be being in ready position. Ready position looks like a normal athletic stance with your knees bent, your paddle out in front of you, and your back straight. Tip number 2 I have for you is bringing your paddle back in anticipation for the ball. Now whether that's forehand or backhand, your paddle is back, ready for the ball. Number 3 tip I have for you is to use power when hitting the ball because you want it to go as deep as you can get it while keeping it in play. And number 4 is going to be our follow through. You want to make sure you follow through to where you want that ball to go. Okay, so a little warm-up drill we have for you is when you and your partner just stand on opposite sides of the net and you're going to dink it back and forth to each other's forehands and backhands. And you're going to alternate doing that. This will allow you to work on your accuracy as well as controlling the ball and the speed of play. Okay, next warm-up we have for you is a little more of a progression incorporating all of the skills that we just learned. So you're going to be with your partner on opposite sides of the net and you're going to work your way from left to right. As you move to the right, your partner's going to move to their right and you're going to hit the ball back and forth, working on your accuracy of your shots and the consistency of your shots, also moving your feet, and all those other tips that we just talked about. Okay, so we're going to go over just a quick warm-up for you and your partner to do when it comes to long returns. So I've got somebody on the other side serving to me. They are only going to serve it to my forehand and then we'll alternate and only serve it to my backhand. Here I want to really focus on all 4 of those tips we talked about, being ready, pulling our paddles back, using power and force when we hit the ball, and then following through. Next drill I have for you is called long, long, short. You are going to work on a serve, a return, and then the progression up to the non-volley zone or the kitchen line. So the drill is long, long, short. Okay, pickleball is normally played doubles, but you can play singles. So we're going to demonstrate for you how to play singles. So when you are back serving a ball, you still serve to the adjacent corner on the return side, and then they're going to return it back to you, and that player on the opposite side then has to slide over to the same side that you are on. You then play out a ball on one side of the court rather than using the entire court. Okay, so I'm going to explain a game of Cutthroat. So if you are short, one player, and you only have three, here's a simple game for you to play that still is going to work on all of your skills necessary for pickleball. So the game is called Cutthroat. You have one server and you have two opponents on the opposite side of the net. The server is going to serve to the adjacent corner on the opponent's side, and then that return must come back to the server side. Then the game is played out only on the server side quadrant of the court. Now, if a server gains a point, they remain the server, and you alternate to the left side and back. If the server loses a point, they are going to rotate to the opponent's side clockwise. So the person furthest on the side is going to rotate around to become the server. Server lost the point. We're going to rotate clockwise. Player on the far end rotates over. I then become an opponent. She lost the point. She's going to rotate around. Okay, we are going to demonstrate for you what pickleball looks like in doubles form.
0-2.
Did it adjust, sir?
Yep.
0-2, 1.
All right, now that you've learned some pickleball basics, we're just going to touch on a little bit of friendly pickleball etiquettes for when you go out and hit the courts. First bit is when you're announcing the score, announce it nice and loud before you play. This makes sure that the other team knows you're ready to serve, and it makes sure that everybody knows the score so there's no arguments about score and it keeps the game moving smoothly. Second, if you hit the ball into the court next to you, don't go chase into the court and dive and grab the ball. You're going to want to just yell ball, let the other court wrap up their point, and then they'll return the ball to you. Lastly, please be respectful to other players. Regardless of skill level, ability, be kind and fair to your other players, and it'll make for an excellent pickleball experience. There are lots of places to play in the area. So our Denver parks that have pickleball courts are Martin Luther King, Skyland, Congress Park, Eisenhower Park, and Hudson Lake Park. So get out and give it a try. Thanks for watching.